Within minutes of the attack that morning, September 11th, 2001, the government ordered all commercial planes across the United States grounded. A dozen local pilots received orders to fly over New York City to protect the skies. Brian Colleran spoke with two of them about what they remember 20 years later.
I think back then, there was certainly an innocence that people would walk around with that, hey, we're safe. That morning, I remember standing right here at this table with Colonel Murdoch. At that moment, when Colonel Jensen walked through, I said, hey, you may want to see this. An airplane has hit the World Trade Center.
I saw the first airplane hit the World Trade Center, and I said, that's not normal.
We turned that television on. That was the first time we saw the gravity of the situation that was developing.
A second airplane, a 727, just rammed into the building.
Get out of the area. The second tower is coming.
Terrorism against our nation will not stand.
Within hours, the Vermont Air National Guard's F-16s were armed and in the air.
It was get airborne, make sure that there's fighter aircraft overhead, nonstop.
Retired Lieutenant Colonel Terry Maltrip was one of the first jets up.
I believe I made a difference.
Maltrip's first look at the scene below, captured by this picture, taken by him on a digital camera.
I didn't think it would go worldwide.
It was the most downloaded image on military websites, making the front page of newspapers all over the globe, marking an unthinkable moment.
And that's the only time we flew armed over America.
In a case like this, you may be asked to shoot down a civilian airliner. And I think that thought had not crossed any of our minds at that time.
Colonel Dan Finnegan was in the air on the 12th as well, over a city he had flown over plenty of times, but never like this.
That evening, I remember the utter dead silence in the air. There wasn't an aircraft around, and we were there to make sure. Under the night vision goggles, you could see all of the flashing lights, and then in the infrared, you could just see how hot the wreckage was, and the first responders that were down on the ground, and they would remain there as we continued to fly these missions 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So as quiet as it was up in the air, you could look down there and get a sense of kind of the horror that was happening down there on the ground.
The Green Mountain Boys would fly for 122 straight days over the world's biggest city, as crews down below look for the nearly 3,000 lost on that fateful day.
You're kind of back and forth between, your heart going out to what's happening on the ground and knowing that my part of this is just to keep people away from you so that you can safely do what you need to do.
I didn't know what to make of it at the time, that we'd be the longest war in U.S. history, that the Taliban would come into power again, and it's just so sad.
The attacks that day changed the mission of the 158th Fighter Wing. Some of these same pilots would spend the next 15 years of their service flying missions over the Middle East in America's longest war that started on that sunny September morning in 2001.
20 years later, it seems like the images are very clear in your head.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to forget. I mean, it leaves a mark.
Brian Colleran, NBC5 News.